Joint Supervisory Body meeting on Bougainville deferred. Sandaun Ward Councillor urges government to open Wutung Border facility. And gender-based violence cases continue to increase.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for tuning in. This is Wednesday's news. The Joint Supervisory Body meeting between officials from the national government and the autonomous Bougainville government has again been deferred. It was scheduled to take place in Arawa tomorrow. This latest deferral was confirmed by Minister assisting the Prime Minister on Bougainville Affairs, William Samb. With less than a year to go before the target date for Bougainville's referendum on its political future, both the national government and the autonomous Bougainville government have on several occasions reaffirmed their commitment to this important process. An important avenue for dialogue has been through the Joint Supervisory Body meetings. Given the approaching target date of the referendum, both governments had agreed to staging the next JSB meeting in Arawa, Bougainville. The next meeting of the JSB was to have confirmed some important decisions surrounding the referendum, including the all-important question or questions to be put to the region's citizens. During the recently concluded Bougainville referendum conference, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill reaffirmed his commitment to the JSB, which had been scheduled for tomorrow, June the 14th.
I will discuss some of this at our joint supervisory body meeting in Arawa. It has been suggested that it will be deferred, but President and I agreed that we will go ahead. Even though if it's only two of us meeting, it's okay. We'll meet in Arawa on the 14th of June.
However, today, Minister assisting the Prime Minister, William Samb, confirmed the deferral of the JSB yet again. This time, the JSB has been rescheduled for the end of this month. According to Minister Samb, this is to allow for the joint technical meetings between officials from both the national government and the ABG, which will set the agenda for the JSB meeting. The joint technical team meets in Port Moresby this week.
The support that I'm getting from leaders on the ground in Bougainville, both for the ABG and the various groups on the ground, the support is very good. And for me, I can't really wait to get to Bougainville. This week, I think the technical team, they're having their meeting. They're having it in Moresby. And then the new date will be around the 29th. So 27, 28, we'll have a team on the ground in Arawa. And, yeah. So it's now pushed back to 28, 29.
The perceived absence of PNG Electoral Commission officials has been described as disappointing as local level governments around the country prepare for the upcoming LLG elections. Minister assisting the Prime Minister, William Samb, made these remarks today when announcing the decision of the Goilala District Development Authority to support preparation work for LLG elections. In his capacity as member for Goilala and chairman of Goilala DDA, Mr. Samb announced support funding for the 3 LLGs in his district to commence awareness activities in the lead-up to polling. With local level government elections set to begin with the issuing of writs on Thursday, July the 26th, the Goilala district today announced its commitment to supporting this important program. Goilala MP William Samb, in his capacity as chairman of the Goilala District Development Authority, today announced their decision to support the 3 LLGs within Goilala to commence electoral awareness programs.
To assist our LLG managers to go to our respective LLGs in Goilala and do preparation work while waiting for any form of funding from the provincial administration and the Electoral Commission to fund the elections that's coming up maybe in August.
According to Mr. Samb, the perceived lack of action by the PNG Electoral Commission in carrying out activities in preparation for these important election targets has been disappointing. However, the decision to support the awareness process has been made, with the member also calling on the recipients to acquit this funding support.
We have to be accountable, and after this we need reports on how the money was spent so that we can be able to get our acquittals and whatever done accordingly.
Representing the LLGs, Waitape President Joe Geru thanked the Goilala DDA for coming to the aid of LLGs, particularly given current financial constraints.
Honourable Member and Minister, Chairman for DDA. Thank you for the support. To our administration, the Chairman has said it straight. Although the funding is small, but we need some results.
The three LLGs of Woitabe, Tapini and Guari will each receive 10,000 kina, which will primarily go towards electoral awareness. Given the difficult geography of Goilala, Mr. Samb has also committed to further support, primarily through logistics for LLG officials tasked to carry out the elections. People in West Sepik Province can now register in the government's NID system. National Planning Minister Richard Maru has personally opened the Vanimo office. Minister Maru urged the public to register, saying the government needs accurate and reliable information to plan and provide services around the country.
Over 15 NID offices have been established throughout the country as the government hopes to get citizens registered. West Sepik now joins other provinces to have a functional office. Speaking prior to the opening, the Planning Minister says proper analysis is needed to help the government in allocating funding and developing the appropriate level of services to communities.
A very important service. I'm asking people to embrace him, take him ownership, and ensure that service is rolled out throughout the province. Meet him deadline below government. End of 2021. Everybody in Sandaun is registered.
The new NID office is situated on the fringes of Vanimo town. More than half of the population of West Sepik are yet to register for a birth certificate and NID card. Many were urged yesterday to access this service and register.
Either you come to this office to register, or we are mobilizing the mobile team who will be visiting, and I will work with the governor, with the provincial administration, with the district DDAs, to send more officers to the district, to partner with the districts to make sure that all the people of West Sepik is registered, and you must have an identity.
Following the opening, the head of the province was the first to register and be issued a birth certificate.
In the development, you have to have NID, or national identity, so that you can be able to move anywhere in the world, or in fact in Papua New Guinea, and you can be able to access the government services as well too.
Jack Lepave Jr., National EMTV News.
A ward councillor in West Sepik says government authorities must open the border office facility at Wutung. Ward councillor Rafael Tungla says the office facility was completed in 2014 but remains closed because there are no water and power connections. Councillor Tungla made the appeal to National Planning Minister Richard Maru and other state agency representatives upon their visit to the Wutung Border post yesterday.
Councillor Rafael Tungla expressed his disappointment to the state team who visited the Wutung Border post yesterday. In an interview with EMTV, Mr. Tungla says this important facility will improve business and economic opportunities for the people of West Sepik and the country.
Meeting government must look at big trade opportunities. Facility must open so that business border must formalize. Something we can outline him here. Currency go big too much outside. You trade them one side. This la too, give him some bell heavy lo mi platu. Bakaram currency lo platu. With me suppose look at facility, opening a facility so that monetary currency.
The facility has no water and electricity connection. No proper reasons were given by caretakers. However, state agencies have been urged to work together to see the facility commissioned and operational. National Planning Minister Richard Maru is concerned of border crimes and diseases which may affect the country if the facility remains closed.
Apart from the team coming to look at lighting and the buildings, we want the team to seriously look at biosecurity in a very, very big way.
A temporary facility is currently being used to monitor the movement of people and cargo. So far, Water PNG and PNG Power have assured their assistance to service the facility.
The opportunities here, we'll come and have a look at it, see what we can do to have the water supply into the systems here, into the infrastructure that's here.
West Sepik Governor Tony Wo says the provincial government will assist authorities to see the border facility recommissioned.
And I would like the government to help us to make sure that we get some funds available through your ministry and make a stock take or ability of what we need to get, what we need, what is still yet to be maintained, and then we get it going as soon as possible.
The Wutung Border facility was built from a government loan through the Asian Development Bank. Jack Labave Jr., National EMTV News.
Bank South Pacific is a platinum sponsor for the Certified Practicing Accountants PNG Annual Conference, having committed to a package valued at 50,000 kina. The amount will go towards the staging of a series of conferences in Kokopo, Lae and Port Moresby. CPA PNG President Richard Kuna thanked BSP for their continued support and the partnership in building professionals within the country. He said over the years, CPA has maintained the role of developing competent and professional accountants through these conferences. CPA PNG's membership is over 4,000 from both the public and private sectors, including non-government organizations. You're watching National EMTV News, 42 years on and still the one. We'll be back shortly with more of the day's other stories. Stay tuned. Welcome back to National EMTV News. The rate of sexual offences cases in Lae is on the rise, with over 60 reported cases from January to May. Officer in charge of Lae's Sexual Offence Squad, Sergeant Mary Wata, says most of these offences are now being committed by juveniles. These are suspects under the age of 19. This morning, an 11-year-old suspect was brought in for sexually abusing a 5-year-old girl. The youngest perpetrator reported this year was a 9-year-old boy. Sergeant Wata believes the lack of parental controls and the easy access to internet pornography are major factors behind this spike in cases. In Lae, most victims of sexual penetration cases are under 12 years old and were abused by relatives and persons known to them. A dialogue to strengthen church-state partnership is underway in Port Moresby under the Ministry for Community Development and Religion. The two-day forum will look at promoting inclusive Papua New Guinea church-state partnerships through existing church community networks. The forum will address gender-based and sorcery-related violence and accusations and other social issues.
According to the Minister for Community Development and Religion, for a number of years, the government has failed to meet its end of the bargain in delivering vital services to the communities. But churches continue to reach the people despite lack of state support. The forum with different church representatives and development partners was organized to strategize and address gender-based violence, sorcery-related violence and accusations, and to re-establish religion in education system and to establish an inclusive PNG church-state partnership program.
We're trying to take an approach that was never taken before and talk to different groups. And churches today is very important for government because we know that you are closer to the people. So we need to all come together and work together to ensure that we address these issues.
Church representatives' views will be collected from this forum to identify what services different churches provide to communities to address social issues. Speaking on behalf of the Prime Minister, Police Minister Jelta Wong says church systems in service delivery have proven to be proficient.
The intent of my government to consolidate the partnership with the churches, because churches, if not few, are the only reputable systems working to serve our people in rural areas. In many remote places, in the absence of notable government services, the churches provide the much needed services.
With these talks, the Department for Community Development and Religion has taken steps to establish provincial offices to facilitate the PNG Church-State Partnership Program.
It's also ensuring that through partnership with churches, we do not want to leave anyone behind. We want to ensure that the Sustainable Development Goals is also embraced. Our Vision 2050 is also embraced. So through this office, the partnership between church and state would be consolidated and facilitated for effective development outcomes and benefits the practices and specialties of the churches.
This year, the Oni Label government has provided 10 million kina to support churches in its work. However, this funding has been given to the 7 mainline churches only. Hence, under the new Church-State Partnership Program, other churches providing vital services to communities will also be captured. Stacey Yalo, National EMTV News.
More than 17,000 cases of gender-based violence were reported to the Family Support Center in Leh from the years 2007 to 2017. That's an average of 1,700 cases each year. Officer in charge of the center, Anastasia Wutung, said most of these cases are intimate partner violence, child abuse and sexual violence. According to their statistics, 7 out of 10 cases are related to sexual violence against children.
Cases of gender-based violence are reported daily to the Family Support Center here in Leh. Most of the victims are children and women.
These are only reported cases actually. There are thousands of cases still out there underreported because of threats.
Physical violence cases are frequently reported. Anastasia Wutung of the Family Support Center says they often have to refer some of the cases to the emergency unit and the operation theatre for surgeons to attend to.
It is extremely very nasty cases that needs to be dealt with in terms of surgical interventions that needs to take place.
The victims report all forms of sexual violence cases. What is also alarming is that the centre is recording more offenders who are young, their ages ranging from 11 to 19 years.
Because of rise of consumption in drug consumption, that's marijuana and home brew, and also the modern technology. Modern technology is here to stay, but it also pollutes the mindset when they are looking and watching pornographic materials, pictures on the internet and all this, and even the little children are now practicing things like this, and looking at those things, they try to practice among themselves.
Wutung said one victim of a sexual violence case was only 2 years and 8 months old.
This is alarming and it's frightening for all of us. Anybody is vulnerable to that.
These nurses have also attended to victims who have come into Leh from other districts in Morobe and some from the Highlands region to seek help from the centre. Wutung has called on the public to change their attitude and help minimize gender-based violence. She has also called on the implementers of the gender-based violence policy to help fund the policy in order to make it effective.
When you come up with policies in place, when you rectify conventions and policies in place, you need to put budget against it to implement those projects. You need to implement both the government and the private sectors and even our churches and our local NGOs.
Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Leh.
The Papua New Guinea Nurses Association will be hosting their 15th National Nurses Research Symposium in Popondetta in September. The association is inviting all nurses and health professionals from both the public and private sectors to submit abstracts for research presentations during the symposium. According to the association, they are expecting over 500 nurses to attend from all across the country.
The PNG Nurses Association will be having its 5th annual symposium with an aim to enhance nurses with skills and knowledge in the medical field. They are inviting both nurses and healthcare professionals to submit abstracts for research presentation. The abstracts submitted should be centered on the key result areas of the National Health Plan in addressing priority health outcomes.
With necessary knowledge and skills so that they can come back to the clinical area, not only at the clinical administration and to an educational level institution, to impart those knowledge to the clients that they are serving.
The research will be reflecting the current National Health Plan, its implementation so far after 8 years, and the results of the National Health Plan in ensuring a healthy and prosperous nation for all.
Is to identify and develop new areas of ideas and information that is available. So the new thing that we will be expecting is the new ideas that can help us to enhance, to bring about the changes within the health services delivery. Those are the new ideas that we try to promote each symposium, getting new ideas, new information. So those are essential elements that we need to refine our health services delivery.
According to a professional committee, this is an avenue that nurses look forward to every year.
You know, the knowledge and skills in those areas. Thirdly, it's about improving those who are not knowing what research is. During the symposium, they learn, because not a lot of nurses have the opportunity to go to either, further studies because of financial issues. So we concern on research, the strategies on how to go, and education in that aspects throughout.
The call for abstracts has been open since 16th of May 2018 and will be closing this month on the 24th of June. Registration for the symposium is also now open for all interested nurses and other health professionals wishing to attend.
It's the style of nursing care that we are giving to our patients, and research is the only way to go.
Lilian Sopera Kinea, National EMTV News.
Kopkop College in Port Moresby will soon be developing its students through a career-based system. They will be identifying career pathways for students at an early age and developing them using a holistic approach. This is an idea proposed by Sabina Mong, Director of Research and Innovation at the Education Department and founder of the PNG Career Guide Center.
So, but we have to start slowly the school system.
According to Mrs. Mong, the current PNG education system is not meeting international standards because the curriculum is based on preparing students for examinations alone and not on assessment and monitoring to meet standards. Her idea is to set a program where students' natural talent, their personalities with their performances in school will be captured to identify what career options best fit the child and to develop him or her accordingly.
The child is not addressing the subjects we are writing. So what this concept is trying to do is we're trying to align the learned abilities. Learned abilities are subjects, things they are learning, math, science, English, and to the hidden or natural talents which are God-given.
After a short convincing presentation to the Kopkop College administration last week, parents of Kopkop College were given a presentation yesterday to seek their views on the concept.
Career Guidance Center have developed a series of aptitude tests that can help determine the child's career choice based on his or her abilities and natural inclination. Therefore, we would like this program, we have accepted that we become the pioneer for this program, and we are so excited to see the results and the outcomes for this program.
Some students don't really fall in line. They tend to be all over the place. Others get in, but they don't make the right choices to go into the right tertiary institutions.
As a parent, the presentation was excellent, finding the gaps where our education system should have done some kind of post-mortem and did this for our children. But for me as a parent, I'm looking forward to Kopkop taking this pathway.
So we were trying to produce this kind of people.
Mrs. Mong added that every individual has their own interests and talents and each will belong to a career group, and it is important to identify these interests and talents at an early age and concentrate more on developing them. Stacey Yalo, National EMTV News.
Pangu Party member Henry Amuli has once more been declared the member for Sohe in Northern Province. This follows a judicial recount ordered by Justice Iovageta after former Sohe MP Delilah Gore filed a petition disputing his election win.
The announcement came as a relief for the first time a member of parliament after facing court battles to justify his first successful win.
We get big blood hamumas that finally Justice delivered.
The Member of Parliament ousted former Sohe MP Delilah Gore in elections last year. The decision was announced by Justice Iovageta yesterday, following a judicial recount ordered on the 21st of February last year. Pangu Party lawyer Brendan Lai said there was no significant difference between the initial election results and that of the judicial recount.
As per the declaration today by the National Court, our client Honorable Henry Jones Amuli won by 186 votes. So the petitioner only picked up 3 votes from the judicial recount.
Amuli firmly believes that he won the elections fair and square and solely by the favor he had gained from the people of Sohe.
Me like to thank you long people long Sohe, long giving me this mandate. Na me committed long Stavanten people long Sohe. Na me committed long work closely with the administration long Sohe, with the electoral staff long delivering services.
Pangu Party leader Sam Basil was relieved to announce that Amuli's case was the last of Pangu members to be successfully closed in their favor.
I, as a party leader of Pangu Party, maintain that our number in government is 15, and we will remain committed to the only label government that we have made our decisions earlier. And our number is 15, and I'm happy that we've succeeded in most of our courts in election disputes. This is the last one of the many cases that has been successfully concluded.
Melissa Gaviro, National EMTV News.
Pangu Party leader Sam Basil has also announced that party president Patrick Pundau has been committed to stand trial on misappropriation charges. Pundau was committed by the National Court based on sufficient evidence supporting allegations made by Basil, claiming he had misused 50,000 kina. Pundau and Basil have not been on the best of terms lately, with Pundau recently attempting to get Basil suspended from his current position of party leader.
I'm happy to announce that the accused, Mr. Patrick Pundau, has been to stand trial on the misappropriation charges. So I'm very happy that we are cleaning up the mess in Pangu Party from the executive level, and we will see to the end of it through the court system.
To Madang now, and relatives of the 4 men killed during Madang's April unrest have requested a coronial inquest to be conducted into their cause of death. The relatives met with Provincial Police Commander Chief Inspector Ben Neneo and other senior police personnel in Madang. Their concerns were presented in a one-page letter outlining 3 areas for the Provincial Police Commander to look into.
At 11 p.m. today, relatives of the 4 men killed in April's unrest in Madang met with the Provincial Police Commander and other police personnel. The relatives presented a one-page letter outlining 3 concerns for PPC to act on.
Long time. Now, me plating also this la work by go ahead long investigation by go ahead yet, but then me come in a long time now. Me play got bail heavy on top of this. Why not this law or something, and I missed up so long.
They say it is now 2 months since the 4 were shot dead by police during the unrest. Yet there has been no investigation to determine the cause of their death. They also presented copies of the letter to officer in charge of CID Stephen Yelamu and the Madang coroner insisting a coronial inquest be conducted. They also questioned why police personnel involved in the shooting of the 4 men were not suspended while the coronial inquest is being conducted.
Online all policemen who say they only start inside Lodesla. Involved Lodesla, time corona go headlong walking one walk by him out.
PPC Ben Neneo welcomed the relatives' request of a coronial inquest, saying police would also need their cooperation in assisting them do their job, saying investigations are pending due to the lack of cooperation by locals in bringing forth witnesses to assist police.
So, suppose we look good, and this like making walk lo mi platu go hardly. But me by need him to help me lo walk. A man you looking one him heavy come up, lo help you stop looking. You come give him na mix him you say more you witness lo niya. Na him you go help him no sem. Police like since la I mean you go lo court. But this like no come up so me play stop lo this la halfway. Me play lo group taso na to. Him heavy stop it was. So him this la heavy come up here me can to was more. Him opportunist.
Martha Louise, National EMTV News, Madang.
This is Wednesday's news on EMTV. A look at what makes Papua New Guinea so unique. Up next, we'll have those stories and more after these messages. Welcome back to National MTV News. 4 men from East Sepik Province who are living in Madang were asked to carve 4 portraits of the main APEC summit in November in Port Moresby, an opportunity to expose their unique talent in PNG and also to the outside world. The 4 recently carved a portrait of the APEC meeting in Madang for Sir Peter Bata that has got the attention of APEC officials. The carving depicted the image on the country's 5-kina note.
These men's livelihood depend on the sale of their arts and crafts. They make their own arts and crafts and sell them to both local and international tourists. Last week, they were invited by Sir Peter Bata to carve out a monument as a symbol of the recent APEC meeting in Madang.
And this post, and go and this boom, now come up to Madang. And by marking, what's happening? Madang, you've been holding this APEC meeting along Madang Resort. So, lapun I'm liking this land, you'll be making this post.
These types of carvings usually take up to a month to make. But these 4 men from East Sepik Province took 2 days and a night to complete. The carving was their rendition of the image on the 5-kina note, the head of the monument as the APEC logo or emblem. At the lower part of the statue is a figure of a woman from Raikos representing Madang. The other side of the carving is an image of a man from East Sepik.
Oh yes, you look at this figure now, brother, and Moklo. Put him design long and stuff, and marking 5-kina, yeah? So you can look at him long 5-kina note, but you look at this figure and stuff. Yeah.
The 4 had impressed APEC officials who asked them to do 4 similar monuments and erected them in Port Moresby for the main summit coming up in November. Members of the APEC senior finance officials were also fascinated to watch the 4 men carve out the carving. Martha Louise, National MTV News, Madang.
20 years ago, Bougainville village in Madang district went into pottery production as a way of engaging in small to medium enterprises to earn revenue. The group, mostly consisting of older women, has used their skills to turn it into a commercial trade. The clay pots are mostly sold to international tourists. Bougainville Women's Pottery Production Association recently displayed their pots to the APEC senior finance officials meeting during the mini cultural show last Friday in Madang.
Making clay pots is one of the skills most Papua New Guinean villages acquire through information passed down over the centuries from generations. For Bougainville village, an island located offshore of Madang town, clay pots are a very significant part of their life. It was used for trade during the barter system.
So we are making through this house and clay pots, we are selling through international tourism that come through here. Also by
There are 6 stages involved in making clay pots depending on the size of the pot. They make their pots using traditional methods. The first part is mixing clay with sand and mix with water again. They then shape them out of the pot and leave it for a few days to dry before hollowing out the inside of the pot, and then it is left to dry before the smoothing stage.
So after that, then by losing stuff under the house for about a week, the wind drying off the most clay cloth, and then after a week, me play putting the fire. So go inside the people fire, me plan him to plant different fires. One plan the trial fire, and me must try and hit him on this round clay. So me blow look him so suppose send and by mix up the sand and up. So and then after that, we can trial fire, me put him on the people fire.
Pots are fired and left for 2 days before being fired again and ready for use. The clay pots come in different sizes with prices ranging from the lowest of 15 kina to 80 kina.
Size longer than start by 15 kina and go on the floor. The big shape about 80 kina. So we got all flower base and we got all cans long in. We got all mouse long in and water bottles. And then we got cook too. And the cooking and we start cooking.
The local people of Bougainville village depend mostly on the sale of their clay pots to make ends meet. The business is thriving in the tourism sector, especially for Medeng. And for Bougainville, it is something they are passionate about to expand into to reach the wider market outside of PNG. They also made an informal presentation to the chairperson of the APEC Senior Finance Officials meeting held last Friday. Martha Louise, National EMTV News, Medeng.
The aigir is a traditional cuisine and is synonymous with the people of East New Britain. The traditional menu is slowly becoming popular and prepared for special occasions or as a daily meal for families all over the country. But despite its popularity, not everyone knows how to prepare it.
We've come to the home of Francisca Wanauro at Palnakaur on the outskirts of Kokopo town. At her home, she occasionally prepares aigir as a daily meal for her grandchildren. Here she demonstrates as we film the various processes involved in the making of this traditional Tolai cuisine.
We wait him taray or scrape him, finish, he come. Now we kiss him milk blongen, we put him go inside. We squeeze him go inside lo aigir now. We go inside lo kumu now. Okay, just to get the good milk out of that coconut, and we put him inside lo kumu. And now, we rouse him can separate him lo nara pla this. Okay, we kiss him this la good pla milk blongen, we put him lo one pla this can, and then this la coconut where me walk him finish lo kumu, me reserve him lo me walk him milk now.
Unlike any other typical Melanesian way of cooking, this one doesn't require fire to cook the food. Instead, it only needs oat stones preheated over an open fire.
Before me walk him cream him coconuts, we must walk him fire. I have to make fire first before me cream him. Me walk him cream lo coconuts. I'm awaiting this all stone by he ready now lo walk him aigir.
Aigir is a unique way of cooking. Apart from the common cooking methods like mumu, grilling or baking, the process and the benefits of making aigir is effortless, inexpensive and nourishing. Until recently, the recipe has made its way out of its province of origin. Many East New Britain people have travelled elsewhere to settle and have brought this method of cooking with them.
Let me take around 10 minutes, time you can turn him good this lakaikan. Inside of this stone, especially that meat, like this lakakaru. But you can put him only lick stone on top long so we can at the same time by tan and akumutu by tan one time. So
this traditional menu has lived on through many generations in this part of the country, and only a few people know how to prepare it. But its taste is widely accepted as one of the finest dish that is closely attributed only to the East New Britain people. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Turning overseas now, one has been mocked for having little hands, the other has been ridiculed as Little Rocket Man. But Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un have one thing in common: big signatures.
Political odd couple, linked even in a latte. President Trump and Kim Jong-un have been turned into everything from bobbleheads to trolls. But you know what's really strange to see together? Their signatures.
Okay.
We're used to seeing President Trump's chainsaw signature, but this is how Kim Jong-un signs his name, and most of the world had never before seen it until this signing ceremony.
Thank you very much. It's fantastic.
Reaction on Twitter ranged from Kim Jong-un has a cute signature to preposterous. Others noted its rising trajectory. Looks like a missile. Like a flying rocket. Actually, space is something a handwriting analyst picks up on immediately.
Elongated space between each letter, that he needs space from people. He doesn't like for people to get too close to him.
Contrasted with President Trump's hands-on personality, reflected in his crowded signature.
Trump clearly loves himself because of the size of certain letters. Trump's writing looks like a freight train that lacks compassion, that goes on instinct.
While Kim's is deliberative. And though their signatures couldn't look more different, our expert says they do indicate similarities.
They don't forgive easily. They hold on to grudges.
Both men apply a lot of pressure when they write.
I was not surprised by the anger strokes because I've seen those type of strokes in other dictators.
President Trump's signature graced the pen placed on the table for Kim to use, but instead at the last second, his sister and close advisor pulled a switcheroo.
So we're signing a very important document.
And holding that pen were the hands of a much shorter man, making President Trump's hands finally loom large.
Here with National EMTV News, we have a sporting action lined up in Trukai Sports that's coming up next. Stay tuned for the details.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. APEC Minister Jasin Chichenko has signed an agreement with the Papua New Guinea Rugby Football League to use PNG RFL sanctioned matches to promote APEC in the lead up to the Leaders Summit in November. This agreement will see all PNG RFL games and competitions displaying APEC branding on its uniforms, venues and other sporting materials, including commercials. Minister Chichenko says with Rugby League being the national sport in the country, it will be a good platform to create awareness for APEC.
Avenues where people of all walks of life can come together to enjoy. For PNG, Rugby League is the sport that unites all. Seeing the potential Rugby League has in the country, APEC Minister Jasin Chichenko signed an agreement today with PNG RFL to use Rugby League to drive the APEC message throughout the country.
Sport brings our communities together. It brings our people together, our villages, our settlements together, and it brings our country together in a united fashion like nothing else. And for APEC to be branded on the jerseys of the rugby boys going out there and the girls, and be branded in our facilities here that we have built, it just shows you the partnership of what we're trying to achieve here with APEC. APEC is a stepping stone for many great things to come.
PNG RFL Chairman Sunday Saka, upon signing the agreement, laid out immediate plans as to how PNG RFL will carry out APEC awareness.
That all our branding, be it publications, uniforms, jerseys, even we've worked with our partnership Oil Search National Football Stadium to offer branding visibility for APEC at all our branding venues, at all our Rugby League venues.
The first APEC branded jerseys will be worn by PNG Kumuls on June 23rd for the Pacific Test Series. The squad will be announced this Saturday after the Hunters Ipswich game.
On behalf of Rugby League and the Rugby League family in PNG, that we are mindful of the significance and the value of APEC, the importance of it, and we will use our best endeavors to ensure that both our brands, which we have, we can guarantee you that Rugby League over the last 4 years have built a brand and a credibility where we place ourselves in good standing to realize the importance of APEC and promote it with the emphasis and with the integrity that both brands deserve.
On the occasion, PNG RFL CEO also announced brand ambassadors of APEC.
One is Wutung Border. Second one is Redley Brower. And third one is Moses Meninga. So those three will be our proud ambassadors, and we lend to the APEC 2018.
Minister Chichenko says his team will be continuing to carry out major APEC awareness programs throughout the country so people in rural areas also understand what APEC is all about. Stacey Yallo, National EMTV Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. We'll be back with more after these messages. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. It's football fever and countries around the world are getting into the hype of the Russia World Cup. Countries like Brazil and Thailand have got much to show for their enthusiasm for the world game.
Amidst the buzz on the streets of football-mad Brazil, artists have taken to the city's walls and footpaths with spray cans and paint brushes in hand. New paintings have sprung up in Rio de Janeiro along its iconic shoreline, many of which are positive and focused on patriotic support. For many locals, these displays of green and yellow are a welcome relief for a country recovering from one of its worst recessions in decades. On a beachside footpath on Tuesday, local artist Bruno dos Santos painted a caricature of Brazilian soccer great Pelé, who helped clinch the 1970 World Cup for the South American nation. In Thailand, a team of elephants took to a soccer field in Thailand's ancient capital, Ayutthaya, yesterday to play against local students in a match held to campaign against illegal gambling in the run-up to the World Cup. The pachyderms, painted with various national flags, brought their A-game as they ran out 2-1 winners and the match played with an oversized ball. Well, looks like the giant mammals had this match very much in their favor. Meanwhile, fans from all over the world are flocking to Moscow ahead of the tournament, and with less than 48 hours to go before the opening match, teams have started training at their bases. Come match day 1 this Friday, Group A kicks off with host nation Russia going up against Saudi Arabia, and Egypt will face Uruguay a couple of hours later. Helen Sea, EMTV's World Sports.
And that's a wrap for True Kai Sports. Up next, the weather details for the next 24 hours.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
Forecast for the southern region. Port Moresby, Kerma and Popondetta can expect fine and cloudy weather later on, mostly fine for Daru and Alotau.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Wednesday the 13th of June 2018. On behalf of the entire MTV News team, pleasant viewing on MTV, 42 years on and still the one. Good night.